Meeting grandiosely on the banks of Switzerland's Pont Geneva is the staff of the Planet Trading Organization, WTO, a complementary trading plant. There the planet's nations encounter to mallet out trading deals and bring taxes loaded on imported consumer goods. But the framework, that has been work in different guises with the 1940s, is by risk of two sides. The USA has announced tariff on imports of overseas steel and aluminum on the perspectives of domestic safety, and it is refusal to designate new members to the WTO's appeal flesh how settles disputes. These developments go as the WTO is of growing significance to the UK. At the time it is provided by the EU, but following Brexit the UK will conduct negotiations on its own expense. This should offer the UK the capacity to conduct negotiations deals more than particularly intended to fit it. The underside is how the UK will no much longer own to the largest solitary trade economics in the planet, the EU. The at first job of the again enlarged UK crew at the WTO will be to conduct negotiations a plan, and wide listing of consumer goods, and the tariff to be paid on them, range of avocados to zips. The UK estimated it could fair possess the EU's plan. The anxiety is how the requires the agreement of some countries, and several of them include told no. Get New Zealand, for copy. At the time it can sell 228,000 tons of lamb meat and lamb to the EU each year, in no tariff. The UK and the EU solved to break how quote among them, but New Zealand objected. David Gower, is New Zealand's envoy to the WTO, affirmative, we and a band of some WTO members done precise how a easy quote break love how is not reasonable to us. The cause is easy. At the time New Zealand can sell how lamb meat everywhere in the EU, so it loses versatility if it has to sell several in the UK and the otherwise of the EU. The UK can perhaps get circle such a problems, by offer countries love New Zealand a superior transactions. But down there are some clouds on the skyline. For a begin, the WTO hasn't controlled to conduct negotiations a world cut in tariff for many decades for one easy cause, each solitary nation has a presidential veto. Eva Barsauskaite, of the Lithuanian deputation to the WTO, warns me how receive all 164 countries on executive board is not lightweight. Receive 164 friends of your to one location, solve on a lunch, solve on one meal for all, and involve the solitary mothers, the younger generation, retired veterans and all in a hound, and human beings in allergies, how's how the trading deals are creature done there, she says. For the UK, that is hoping to breath new lifetime in the WTO, how is not really hopeful. But down there are greater problems. Donald Trump card's judgment to levy tariff on steel and aluminum is a play converter, not since the hasn't been made up, it has. But since he has made so on domestic safety perspectives, the one WTO guideline how cannot be disputed. All countries can get actions to warranty their domestic safety, but are just anticipated to do so at times of actual meltdown, love actual warfare. But now in time of peace, CEO Trump card has quoted domestic safety as a cause for tariff. If other pursue fit the rise could be unfeasible to halt or inverse. Yet if the rise goes on and on and on, you may include thing really injuring, though the opportunity of a economic downturn. And if you see behind in story, you aware, in the 1930s, how's precisely wherever it photodiode. How is why I include bin proverb, adhere to the rules, do things onto the rules, since if other dong ti love it, down there are mechanisms to get thoroughness of how, he says. But such mechanisms themselves are as well now by risk. The WTO's appeal flesh has been solution problems for more than rather than 20 years, and its decisions include to be recognized by all members of the WTO. Down there is no presidential veto. But the appeal flesh is quickly fleeing out of members, as the US is blocked new serving in and reason above their part. It is necessary a naked minimal of 3 members, although 6 or 7 would be lot superior, at the time it has fair 4 persons. To above a year, he's not been probable to get a unanimity among members to begin the trial for fill vacancies, says the WTO CEO of Legislative Sphere, John Adank. As, if the deadlock continues, the hazard is how the appeal flesh win be in a stance to feature, since if it gets downward to 3 or less members, it could be hard to listen appeals. The calm installation of the WTO, in its so-oiled collegial ambience, has a consolation and convenient sense to it, but it was relying on a position war unanimity how has lasted always with 1945. CEO Trump card has helping kill how unanimity, how down there is a agreement how all agrees to, in a few tweets and the risk of a trading warfare, setting the next goal of the WTO in its lock on the shores of Pont Geneva in severe question.